Hello everyone, how's it going? It's Thursday, which is a day that doesn't really mean anything, but we're going to do another video. I've just went and found one that is probably one of the first ones I saw, to be honest. I don't think I've done this, but you know, I recorded one the other day that I've apparently already done, which is great. Bound to happen eventually, but yeah, the people that watch these know better than I do what I've actually done. So let's just hop into it. The very old one, 2013, be a young learning RVA. We've got on his team, we have Sab. And we've got Holy over here. Okay, almost good. I keep getting confused with the yellow and the orange, and I couldn't understand the positioning there. Got myself over here. We've got Balam, and then we've got Andrew, who I've not seen in a very long time, but he used to play on the old Game Rangers. So the map is Savannah. Lots of food, usually on the savannas. Some nerfs, some berries, and you know, some fambas that you can maybe lure or hunt down, or if they're close enough and you're lucky enough, you can grab them. But they got a decent amount of food on them, 250. A few over here. They're pretty much all over the place. There's sometimes some shorefish, like look at this, this is banging. That's like 800, that's 1,000 food right there, just all together. One food processor. Could be spectacular. So there's a lot of like RNG elements that come into this map when it comes to the food sources. But anyway, we've got myself here on the wing, facing up against Unholy. We have Andrew up against Sab on this side, and then the pockets are going to be RVA and the mighty rack Balam. So let's see what happens. I'm going to speed it up a little bit because we all know what happens in the early game. I think this one's a little bit of a pain in the ass. Your berries will run out quite quickly, and then you'll need to do something else to get food. There doesn't seem to be any lureable animals, as was being discussed by RVA's team. So we've got a couple of farms placed here. And berries are about to run out. Quite a lot of workers are put on there. Maybe a little bit too much. Off to T2. Looks like we're going to rush. Troop centre coming down. Much to Holy's dismay there in the chat. But we'll see how that goes. Two troop centres, power core up. What's happening on the other side? A lot of walling here from Sab. And some sentry posts, but not much help for himself. Looks like he's going to T3. On the other side, yeah, they're just going to T3 against each other. This was pretty common back then. People didn't like to rush, and didn't really know how to rush. But you can see that Holy feels compelled to rush back. He might not be super confident about it, but probably better off rushing than T3ing against this. I think T2 much later than ourselves. Rolling up there with some troopers. He's just got the trooper recruits. It's not a huge distance either. You can see the troops just marching across. Looking to join up here and do some damage. Snipe a trooper, maybe snipe a worker. You can see we've gotten on top of the production there. Just not a normal thing to happen really, you just get quite lucky with the trooper disparity. You can see the value that these guys are getting. Probably killing themselves, killing other troopers at a 3-to-1 ratio. Which just means that when the next attack comes, there's not going to be enough troopers to deal with it. It's going to snowball out of control. Still marching the troopers across. Looks like these guys are fishing in the same area. It's not great. Making the carbon investment not that worth it for them. This could be why Unholy's a little bit behind here. It's because he's dumped that extra 100 carbon over here. He is rebels though, he'll get a bit of extra food and stuff, but he's struggling to keep up with the aggression here. And lots of workers are getting sniped. Really quick war center, which doesn't really help too much. You see, RV is actually going to be building a wall. An interesting one. Balam sending some strikes over. Kind of just what this wall's encouraging is Unholy to get shafted even more. Because Balam can't attack RVA. And now troops here getting much, well, they're emboldened by these strike mechs and they're going to start sniping farms. Which, when there's nothing else to shoot at, is great because you're basically killing 50 carbon and then whatever food they would have gotten out of it. Balam taking some grand shots. This is a very nicely placed turret, I like this. Sort of covers everything there. Balam saying GG. On the other side of things, these guys went T3, command center down. A very early defensive fort, quite strange. Must have had a lot on ore. Got RVA who looks like he's economically struggling with transitioning his food. Quite late getting his farms down. He's got some strike mechs out now. Maybe a bit too much on Nova there. 2 mech factories as well. So he's going to look to be quite aggressive with his strike mechs here. But on the other side of things, Unholy is kind of just garrison hiding. His carbon's really nice though. Like, it's very safe. Even with that just one turret, it seems very safe. But there are little side angles that you could get shot at from. It's not going to be the best. The battles of Andrew and Sab continue with this advancing mech destroyer. And rallied strike mech, but Andrew's inquired the help of the Tuskcat. We're going to push him back with that. On the other side of things, we're chilling. The mighty Balam has graced us with the presence of his mech destroyer, so we feel quite safe. We've got our troops at home being defensive. But RVA's found the angle of which we have nothing to defend. So a few workers are going down there. Unholy looks like he's going to stabilise now. He does have the rebel farm bonus to maybe get himself back in the game. But it seems that the mighty Balam has found an angle in. He's ran through Unholy's base and through this back door, past these fishermen. We didn't even notice. Now RVA will be getting no more Nova for the foreseeable future. Back home, the mighty Balam still on 1 command center. Just all out double mech factory. He loves it. And it looks like he's managed to stabilise things on this side as well for Andrew. Sab just rallying. It's 2 strike mechs at a time to their death. Some heavy troopers here out of myself. Bit of a spaceport, probably to sell some food for Nova. Just maybe get some upgrades or something like that. Oh, they're still rallying strike mechs to death. Oh, look at this, the power droid in the heavy weapons factory. This fort has absolutely triggered Sab, and he's not having it. So some heavy troopers, I'm going to mix in some mech destroyers and then maybe do a bit of a push. Balam now expanding his economy after his relentless aggression. The second command center there. Keeping things fine for Andrew here. A lot of strike mechs. He is going Mounties into this, maybe expecting artillery. But the strikes will be quite good against that. However, they're not being microed very well against this fort, these mech destroyers, so they are being hemorrhaged a bit. Looks like some air being added to this army. Should be playing a very, very aggressive style here on the wing. Looks like RV's completed his wall. Sab, on the other hand, is partially walled his base, but still left himself quite open, and Balam's gotten on top of him here. He might lose all of these though, because there's now 3 mech destroyers bearing down on him. He's just going to have to run through and suffer what shots they're going to land there, losing quite a few of his strike mechs. Still, I think he picked off quite a lot of workers. Huge push here from Unholy and RVA together with these troopers. Nice little mix of anti-air troopers, grenadiers, and then strike mechs. Now, I'm assuming that we've seen all these anti-air troopers with the army that we're just going to send the air to his undefended base and take advantage of that, which is going to very much distract them from synchronizing this attack on us. No anti-air to defend his carbon workers. They have to run and flee, and you have to listen to that haunting R2-D2 scream, which will wake you up at night. The horror. But the attack launches, we can just assume all those workers are going to die. Mighty Balams showed up with 2 MDs, which is going to help here. And these troops are, I'm not sure what they're up to. Miss-microed, they're just running into their deaths, and the strikes are all the way over here. Not looking great. I really try to take some worker kills and stuff, but there's loads of armor on these MDs. You can't really kill them either. They're all sort of dying. Should have maybe just bailed out of there after Unholy through that. So Unholy's quit. That's now just Balam, myself, and Andrew versus RVA and Sab now. Not looking good. And it looks like Sab's push has been destroyed here. It's sort of back to the drawing board for him. Got Balam with his strike mechs, looking to find another way in again. That now he's just going to buff his score, killing all these quitted workers. Some air transports being made. Don't know if that's intentional or an accident. I feel like that's an accident. We'll see. At this point, we kind of just need to get on top of RVA's base and do some damage to him. Balam getting raided here with the strike mechs, but he's got a lot of MDs that he's just not microing properly. They're just chilling. Look at them. Should just split them up. Air here looking for some angles onto RVA. And some Mounties and troopers, and we're heading across. And it looks like Andrew's disconnected, so I'm guessing this just becomes a 2v2. Not the greatest of micro there, losing quite a couple. There's a little spot you can sit here though, and stop all those guys from mining. Well, we barreled down, the gate's been destroyed, and we're sending the troops in. Really should have just mixed some grenadiers into this army. And these would have a horrible time dealing with it. You see that the wall and how the units are getting split up is making this a bit easier for him to kite. Got Balam joining in here. I think the strike mech should just win out in the end here, maybe. Got all the upgrades. No armor on the mech destroyers. Troops dying quite quickly, but look at all these mech destroyers being sent over from the mighty Balam. Oh, a lot of strike mechs though from Sab. Don't know if it'll match Balam's count though. Some air from Sab as well. Very T3 harass orientated this game. Lots of T3 stuff going on. But these are no match for all these fully upgraded mech destroyers. They're just melting. RV joining in. If they focus the same ones, they might win it. Balam just retreating, I'm guessing. The Mounties are not going to fare well against this. It's going to need pure MDs and Grens or something like that to deal with these armies. A lot of MDs the Balams lost. He does have the same amount at home though. I think Balam and myself just need to regroup and go for it again. Don't really want to let these units out to go and cause mayhem. Balam is looking to move back across. Clashing with Balam here in the middle of the map. No research tracking though. These guys could be super effective against these running away strikes. Surprised to see him not just redo his wall. And Sab with another forward. He's trying to send workers around this way though, and they're just getting caught by all of Andrew's idle dead units. There's a lot of them there. It'd be a right headache to deal with that. Hear that grenadier bug where it just goes on for eternity. So T4 for RVA here. I'm going to look to upgrade the strike mechs. Certainly got a lot of them. Balam try to chase these down. It does have the research center, but it's unpowered. Could really use tracking against this. Big push at MDs. Heading across there. Some MDs at home to defend. Problem is, I think there's going to be a lot of heavy strike mechs in ratio here. Air to deal with Sab's air here. Weird mix of Confederacy fighters and Geonosian warriors. These units have mispositioned. Look at them, they're a bit dodgy. I mean, they are still MDs, they've got decent upgrades, but these are heavy strike mechs and there's quite a lot of them. And there'll be a lot more of them being made during the fight as well. Importantly though, these units are staying at home rather than causing mayhem. Sab is really getting on top of Balam here while he's dealing with those strike mechs. You can see he's ran some mech destroyers into Balam's base, garrisoning workers and killing a few. This fight has eventually been cleaned up, but a lot of strike mechs have gone down. But it is sort of killing that window in which the heavy strike mechs make the most difference to this game. And it's helping Balam not get overwhelmed here as well, because if those strike mechs ended up on top of him, he would really struggle to deal with this forward, I think. You can see that more try to come out now. These Mounties will see them. Might get on top of one or two of them, but they will ultimately just die. A lot of MDs out. No advanced anti-air turrets, but there hasn't been any sort of advanced air whoring as of yet. Just making a cool army of Republic MDs. Balam is going to struggle a little bit here with this, but he sort of positioned himself in between both of us rather than going straight into Balam's base. I think if he got into the back part of Balam's eco, he's going to cause a lot of problems for him. If you look how fast these MDs die. Basically 3 shots, and they attack really quickly, the strike mechs. They move very quickly as well. So he'll try to get a wall up the top of here. There'll be a little bit of a troop center production up here, maybe to throw out some grenadiers or something like that. These workers will sort of complete this box here, stop him making a transition from Balam's base into ours through that passage. This wall's been completed, upgraded to heavy wall as well. Gonna make it quite tough for us to just get into his base, because that's kind of what the game plan is here with this push. Balam does have heavy mech destroyers though, to chase down these strike mechs. But while he's doing that, Sab is completely uncontested here. Now, I think if this wasn't walled, this is definitely the right call, but I feel we should be helping Balam here at the moment. The Grenadiers would be a little bit of a problem for this army. Balam was really struggling to chase these down. Oh, air cruiser is going to be great. Bam! All those Grenadiers go down for free. I'm liking that. So, couldn't get into RVA's base, so we're starting to flank the forward here. This couldn't be any worse timing for Sab after taking those big AC shots. RVA's strike's getting cleaned up here as well. We're just sort of grabbing up all the map here as well. Forts and stuff in place. So I'll wall this out a little bit. But RV is looking for some sort of back angle into the base here, which I don't think he's going to get here, but he could just kill the prefab shelter really quickly. And there is an angle that you can shoot on like half these workers. Meanwhile, some cannons are out. Army of mech destroyers and grenadiers pushing across here. More cannons reinforcing that. We're grabbing up Unholy's resources as well, which is going to serve us well. So yeah, he is going to kill the prefab shelter. We've got a slight bit of time to react to this, making some mech destroyers at home and such. A lot of our carbon workers are exposed here. Could take some big losses. Some bombers, which are good, just because they'll permanently chase these around, hopefully. Well, this one won't. But we've still got to micro this push into Sab as well, and take advantage of how vulnerable he is right now. While Balams just sorts himself out, because he's taking a lot of losses. See, a lot of workers are going down here. Gonna have to rebuild all of those. Certainly very painful. And we're not sitting on big amounts of cash at the moment either. Tons of workers go down, but there is a huge push on the Sab right now, which he just doesn't have the units to match. RV is showing up with some mechs now. I think they'll be okay now with his upgrades. We don't have a shield here. We don't really have workers with this push as such. And these Grens have just gone, I hate to say it, full retard. I don't know what they're up to there. Chasing a worker to their deaths. So this push is going to have to back off. A few units showing up from the mighty Balam. These guys are coming out of the shield to fight, which is great for us, but we can't really match them in terms of, well, at least can't match the TF ones in terms of HP. See that our worker count's been somewhat devastated by that raid there. We'll have to rebuild. Not full upgrades yet for the heavy mech destroyers from Balam, but they should do okay. These cannons, I don't know why they were pushing up. That's just not going to happen. Here comes the AC from Balam, which might push these guys back a little bit. But really need to just regroup and sort things out. I'm hoping that Balam, at this point, has maybe got himself together. Start contributing more to this push. But we seem to have a lot of workers to rebuild. Not sure what these lads are up to. They're a long way away from home. Maybe looking to make some sort of secret forward over here. Steal all this ore. Who knows? Crafty Russians. So this push is coming up. Well, we're quite vulnerable here. We don't have a lot of mechs, and our mechs, to be honest, when we have them, are not the strongest. You can see the difference in HP between Republic mech destroyers and Trade Federation ones. It's like a mighty 100 or so. 106 HP or so. He's stealing the ore. Look at this. Absolute theft. Another fort up here. The forts are nice just because they sort of slow things down, I guess, and stop us getting completely overwhelmed. It's certainly how we had all those cannons out as well. Like, cannon production was strong. Bit of Gungan artillery out of Balam. Don't see that very often. They do have quite decent artillery. Not really much coming out of Sab at the moment. He's just tidying up Andrew's base. I think Balam's AC really put him off advancing at all. But it would be better if he was advancing here on Balam and stopping him getting some map control on this side. Arvey is sort of resigned to just chilling at this choke point because of all these forts. And you can see Balam's air cruisers coming over, maybe to get the odd shot or two onto these units. But we're buying a lot of time. And I'm going to send out some air, maybe take advantage of Sab's army that doesn't really have any anti-air at all. Then maybe kill some workers as well. Because again, there's no advanced anti-air turrets. I mean, it's an hour 10 in the game. You might not expect it as such. This air cruiser is just chilling, but it's completely out of position, and these guys are going to shoot at it. And this artillery is not really going to do anything unescorted. They're quite vulnerable on their own like that. You can see how quickly they go down. They're better when they can constantly fire quite safely. Then the damage ramps up. So this air flown around to this side and then sneakily over here, and going to devastate a lot of Sab's workers here. While we buy more time for ourselves so we can transition into something that's going to help us deal with this push. Big evacuation here for Sab. Does have a few anti-airmobiles at home that are going to help deal with this. Does have homing, which is okay. Adds up the damage, guarantees that those shots land. But you need that advanced anti-air to really shut this down. He doesn't seem to want to micro his army right now while he's overseeing things at home, so he's moved back into Unholy space. Gonna get a few bit more production buildings laid down there and then continue the assault. Sab, on the other hand, has started to advance up now. Balam's sort of cut off by this pond a little bit, so he doesn't have a huge unit arc where he's sitting. So he's just taking a lot of free shots from this artillery here. Bit bad from Sab there to just advance these units all clumped up together into these heavy artillery. They're going to take a lot of damage. And when he used to have a lot of strike mechs, he doesn't really anymore. But there are a few there from RVA and they are fully upgraded, so they might help out with these Mounties that are advancing on him. Fleet of fighters coming over here as well, just to do a bit of damage. Because there doesn't seem to be any anti-air with this army, so they should be able to snipe maybe the cannons, the workers, and some of the troopers and stuff. Lay the pressure on there. A few of the forward building workers here have gone down. I think there's just one left. So that's going to slow down the amount of buildings that RV can put on this side of the map. Cannons being sniped. Giving Balam the time he needs to get all this set up and start throwing out units. Bringing some workers over, maybe to get some shields or a fort down or something like that. And sort of hold this position in front of the pond. There's a few anti-airmobiles coming out, but there's an awful lot of air here. I'm going to struggle with these forts. A lot of assault mechs coming out as well. It's going to be tricky to deal with. Unless you've got a lot of bombers, maybe. Now things are looking fine for Balam. He's got a shield up, he's able to rally into the shield, and then he can just continue pushing from there. We're turning our attention back home to deal with this push, which doesn't actually have a lot of anti-air with it. So we're going to come across and kill this with the fighters. And then the bombers are coming across, and they're going to bomb the army. And for some reason, fighters do so much damage to anti-airmobiles, which are supposed to be their counter, that this is going to go quite swimmingly. And this army is just going to have to retreat. There's no turrets set up with the forwards to help support it from something like this, so I think the army's all just going to get bombed and reset here. And now Balam is advancing with his almost lore-worthy Mighty Gungan army. Just needs some repeater troopers or something in there to look like it's out of an AI scenario or something like that, I don't know. Don't often see the artillery and the assault mech together. They sort of do the same job. The army completely dealt with air. Still got some MDs at home that can maybe push up with some cannons that are chilling here as well. We're even advancing a bit forward. I'm going to try and take some of the turrets down as well. And Balam is just a monster now, advancing, cutting through Sab like a knife through butter. There's another turret going down. Harvey should be okay with that though, because he's stolen all of this ore, so he can maybe rebuild. But this is also stopping him being able to help Sab at the moment. Because we've wiped his army and we've sort of cut his production down a bit. Now we're going to fly over to Sab's side and see if we can be a bit of a differential there now, while RV is sort of out of position and doesn't have enough units to go and help. So he's having to make an awful lot of anti-airmobiles now. Sab, push back here, new shield generators as Balam pushes across. Is there any units coming? No, it looks like they're just going to go and push again on my side here. I can still hear that Grenadier going. So we're remaxing now on mech destroyers at home, which should do okay with the forts, I think. Just to hold things back a little bit, because the unit count's not going to be as big as it was before we wiped the army with the bombers. And there probably won't be assault mechs anymore, because they're quite a heavy investment. Balam is just going absolutely ham here. Good mix of units for him. Really struggling to have any sort of counter here. And the air as well, completely uncontested at the moment. So Avi has made the decision to push on me rather than to go and help stabilize Sab, which I would say is probably going to be a mistake. Unless he can carve right through me, but... These mech destroyers pushing. Not trading the best, but they are sniping all these like assault mechs, things that can deal with buildings and such. So you see the kill it and then they're out of there. Back to chill at the forts. And the heir is probably going to come home now as well, and look to just stall and hold this army as long as possible. I'll let Balam just tear things up on this side. Looks like I've been setting up a lot of trade in the meantime. Probably not the best distance. But I'm kind of limited on this map actually for distance. The way the forests have spawned. Already seems to be doing quite a bit of trading on his side as well. And this army's just sort of chilling at the moment. Not really too sure if it wants to push or not. Balams almost deleted everything that Sab took from Andrew. A few more assault mechs arriving, actually quite a few more. So I'm going to make short work of that fort. Balam's somewhat overextended with his mech factories here, I think. He's probably just going to get killed. These cannons are still set up, could maybe serve as a defensive tool. The shield doesn't really cover enough to block by the CC and the fire. Just need to slow this push down and survive it. Wait for Balam to completely cut off the trade. Maybe we need to get rid of that mech factory. Maybe RV will do it for us. This push is taking a while to get through. It's losing a lot of the supporting units. It seems to be mostly anti-aeromobiles. So the assault mechs are getting sniped now. Just the small, because there's not a lot of MDs supporting them. The Night Destroyers are just going in small groups and sniping them. And RV is shifting his focus onto this side now. Quite set up with his trade. Decent amount of farms, maybe ready to just spam assault mechs. Some grenadiers coming in here as well. Help snipe these. Balam almost looks like he's out of steam. Sab stabilizing a bit here, getting some troopers out, which are nice. Needs a bit more upgrades on them though, but they could really help with Balam's switch to just pure Mounties. This army here on this side, after he's diverted his attention there, is just getting picked apart by the Grenadiers and the Mech Destroyers. These guys are running straight into these troopers, so not good. Total massacre. Hope these cannons fire. I want to see them shoot at the assault mechs. These troopers are just going, have just completely entered into these strike mechs and leaving the Mounties to do a little bit of damage there, but fortunately there were more at home there. Now, not too much happening here at this side now. Maybe looking to push, we've gone staggered mode. A mix of MDs and Grens, just try to snipe the assault mechs and stop them reaching some sort of critical mass where they just kill every unit in the game. But it's looking like it's taking a lot of losses to those. It's not working, the health pool's not there, it's just not working out. We're going to need a different option, or a different counter. At the same time, because Balam seems to have ran out of steam here, Sab is just throwing tons and tons of units out. Sam seems to have an awful lot of money. Richie Rich over here. These two. There's Balam and myself fairly poor. So it looks like these guys are completely uncontested at the moment. A few more mech destroyers coming out, but we are struggling with the TF ground forces. Balam with an AC again. Much more MDs. Try to get the shield up. Sab really lacks for having like artillery or something like that, or maybe grenadiers, something that does area damage. Would really help complement his army. Try to shoot some more of these assault mechs. There's the cannons firing. Do some alright damage, but they are clumped. So they're going to die quite quickly. But they've done what they could. Not too much reinforcing here from Ivy. He has a lot of money though. Should just be throwing units out like crazy. He needs to make more mech factories, I think, there. Balam struggling to push this back. It does have the better mechs though. And there's not a huge differential of troopers. If he just threw out the grand troopers, he would crush them. The superior numbers. You can see there's a lot of traders now. There should be a decent amount of Nova coming in. A few masters stockpiled there, which are going to be great against this army. I don't think too much of the base has been lost. Thankfully there was about 2 or 3 forts just chilling here. Slowed this down. A lot of shields as well. Bought the time to transition. Balam again, another air cruiser. These are only fighters, I don't think they could kill an air cruiser in time before the fort killed them. Oh, an awful lot of anti-airmobiles. Fears the bomber. This is a lot of Jedi now. Just inviting the army in. And then maybe we're going to crush it there. Back to the drawing board again. Jedi on the move. Sab picking up some holes over here. Ah, Balam with his little mech factories over here. Create a flank with his units. Pushing over him with the AC as well, damage is really going to ramp up there. And Sab going to be forced to make some units. Here comes the conversions from the Jedi Masters, an awful lot of them. All these assault mechs getting swapped to the other side. And you can see that a lot of them surviving there, and they can just fire on these units. Just converting everything. And within about the same minute or so, things have really turned for both Balam and myself here on this side. And now RB's own forces are advancing on him, with more to come. Not a lot of strike mechs out, no bounty hunters. I don't even know if he's got a fort. A really hard counter for him to deal with. Sab remaxing again, but as I said, he's really struggling without area damage. Some Grens coming in now, which is good. The assault mech I don't really rate, it's a bit expensive. Just converting all these units. So many mech destroyers. Killing all the strike mechs, and RV has to abandon that position and retreat into his walls. Big army from Sab. I just feel like Balam's going to air cruiser this. You can just feel it. Oh. Ripping pieces. I don't know where the Jedi are at anymore. What are they up to? Where did they go? I feel like they would maybe come to this side now. Yeah, there they are. Quite a lot of them moving across. They rebuilt a few things, but there's almost as much units there as there is Jedi, so it's not sufficient. A ton more strike mechs. Can clean up his rebellious forces though. And here come these lads are going to get involved on this side now. Which with Sab's forces waning is going to be really bad for him here. Maybe just run into the base and convert everything. Shut down the trade. Well, there's not really any troopers out to deal with it. And Balam will advance on him here. Take more ground, set up a new shield. See everything getting converted. It's a sea of blue. Put them in the nursery. So he's lost his nurse, losing a lot of turrets here. Spaceport is down. Says RBA. Now these Jedi are running into his base. And still making mech destroyers and strike mechs at 1-to-1 ratio. Just not a decent enough force set up to deal with these. As I said, Balam getting right in there. Here's the repeater troopers now. Tech switch Balam. He does it all. I missed this one. And this one. Strike mech's getting converted now. Sab calling GG. RBA seems a little bit in disbelief, but there isn't really anything out to deal with this. Definitely has a lot of units out. It's just that they're not helping. Strike mech's chasing the Jedi down now. Balam with his chilling MDs. Have these push on RV here, would be good. Looks like the strike mechs are all going to be joining the blue side again. When there's almost no counter. Here comes some mechs from RV here. AC looking for a shot. Enemy spotted. Oh, he's not taking the shot. Now these strike mechs are going to be raiding RV. It's a strange thing to witness. This is just pain incarnate. Your own strike mechs. And more conversions. A really frustrating level of attrition to deal with all of this. Sab resigns. GG, nice teams. Thought it was a good game. And, you know, quite nice of us to just do it 2v2 since Andrew left. And we worked hard to kill Unholy there, so. I mean, he did help us by running all his troops into the strike mechs over there, but enjoyed that. It's quite cool. Got pushed back, pushed forward, pushed back. Sort of was never 100% in any sort of favour. And enjoyed all of Balam's tech switching with different unit compositions. Great game. Anyway, if you like the content, give us a like, comment, subscribe, give us some feedback, anything you'd like to see from the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.